Live from historic Kiger Stadium, this is Klamath Falls Gems Baseball. Presented by Avista, Harbor Isle Tennis and Fitness Club, Henry's Roofing and Supply, Herald and News, Holiday Jewelry, Klamath Eye Center, the Oregon State Lottery, Quail Park of Klamath Falls, Rogue Credit Union, Rust Spires and Pulley LLP, Taco Bell, Super 8, and United Finance. Now for the play-by-play, here's Nick Winstead.
Hello and welcome into Press Box Top Kiger Stadium. I'm Nick Winstead. The Gems and the Heat squaring off for the third time in 2 days. Yesterday the doubleheader, both games going to the Gems. The Klamath Falls Gems a chance to sweep the Sacramento Heat here today on a nice sunny day in Klamath Falls. The Gems getting all heated up, a little bit hotter still in their black uniforms, white pants, black tops, black hats, gems emblazoned across the front. As for the Heat, they're wearing their white pants, orange tops here in Game 3. Out on the mound for the Gems starting things off, it'll be Noah Jarbo. He's 2-0 on the season, like to make it 3-0. One of his wins already against the Heat, that 20-18 victory back in early June. And the first pitch from Jarbo runs inside. Ball one is Chavez leading off for the Heat, squared up to bunt, but he had to bail out early. First pitch at 5:03. Chavez digging in from the right side. The third baseman for the Heat sees another fastball inside, and this one will tag him on that back shoulder as he tries to get away from it. A hit by pitch, the first batter. An inauspicious start for Jarbo. Jarbo has thrown 10 innings, given up 10 hits, 10 runs, only 5 of which are earned. 6 walks to 8 strikeouts, a 4.50 ERA. Hitting in the 2 spot, it's Jack Walsh for Sacramento. He's got 1 on. No outs here in the top of the first. A throw over, not in time. Nelson Santiago covering. The Heat got picked off twice in Game 2 last night by Dakota Windell. They might be a little bit closer to the bases this time around, but Chavez retakes his lead out at first base. Jarbo from the stretch, the runner goes. Fastball high, throw down. Not in time. In standing up is Chavez with the stolen base for a 1-0 count now for Walsh, and he's got a runner in scoring position. Following up Jack Walsh, it's Guillermo Salazar, Jackson Murphy, Marcus Willite, Jordan Zargoza, Jake Doty, Connor Floyd, and Justin Beatty as Jarbo shakes off a sign from Mensing. Finds one he likes, brings the ball into his glove at the stretch, and the pitch. And a called strike as Jack Walsh was squaring up to bunt there. It's a 1-1 count. Chavez takes his lead out at second base now. McKee, the shortstop for the Gems, working right behind him. And Jarbo will step off, trying to keep him as close to second base as possible. Already seeing some of the game plan for the Heat. They're going to play a little bit of small ball here with a runner aboard. Jarbo working from the first base side of the rubber. His pinky toe just barely on the mound. The 1-1 be sent down to third base. The throw is not in time. Sliding around the tag is Damian Chavez as he's gone from first to third on a pair of swiped bags. Good throw from Mensing, but more towards foul territory. Made a big long sweep tag attempt from Sinkovich, and evading it is Chavez. It's a 2-1 count. Now 3-1 after another miss inside from Jarbo. Defensively for the Gems, Santiago at first base, Carswell at second base, McKee at shortstop, Sinkovich at third base. The 3-1 pitch on its way. Up and in the air on the right side, and that will work its way foul right over towards the Gems bullpen. Looks like Ben Tennell will be tasked with tracking that one down. It's a full count now for Walsh, the shortstop. He's got Chavez at third base. No outs here in the top of the first. in Game 3 of this 3-game series. The Heat trying to get an early lead over the Gems. The payoff pitch. Into center field. That'll drop in front of Sordal. Scoring easily from third base is Chavez. And it's an RBI single for Jack Walsh. That'll bring up Guillermo Salazar, the center fielder. He played left and was the designated hitter yesterday. Left field in Game 2, DH in Game 1. He went 1 for 7 last night with an RBI, and he's got a runner aboard. No outs. Runner goes. Fastball, throw down, not in time. And the Heat taking advantage of their speed out on the base paths. They've already got 3 stolen bases with just 2 base runners. It's an 0-1 count on Salazar with the runner in scoring position after the swiped bag. McKee very close behind Walsh out at second base now. He'll back off. The 0-1. Ripped into the glove of Sinkovich. They have a chance to double him up, and covering the bag is Wes Carswell. A laser to the third baseman, Sinkovich. And he has a heads-up play. Goes right back to second base where Jack Walsh can't get back in time. Doubling up Walsh is Sinkovich on Salazar's laser to Sinkovich. A nice diving play, and comes up and ready to make another good play right on top of it. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Jackson Murphy, the left fielder for the Heat, with 2 outs, nobody on. Called strike on the inside half of the plate for Jarbo, working back from the windup. He hit his first batter, a single, and then a line out. The 0-1. Called strike 2, a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Jarbo with count leverage. Jarbo, glove up in front of his face, nods in agreement with Mensing, begins his motion. The 0-2. Sent back into the screen, works its way up all the way up to the overhang for rolling back down. Remains an 0-2. Jarbo asks for a new baseball, sends it over to Mensing. The Gems come into this one 4-5, a chance to go 500 on the year. The Heat falling to 6-9 after those pairs of losses yesterday. 5 games back in conference for the Gems. Just they're trying to work in their way up towards the top, where Top Speed is alone. They're 10-1. They suffered their first loss yesterday, but a healthy margin for Top Speed. The 0-2 pitch, a little bit high. Taking ball 1 is Murphy. Murphy was the pinch hitter for the Heat. They sent him up with a runner aboard, down by 1 in the top of the 7th. He ended up grounded into a 5-4-3 game-ending double play. And a beautiful pitch on the inside catches Murphy looking. Strike 3. The Heat are able to grab a run after Damian Chavez is hit by a pitch, steals second, steals third, and is brought in by Walsh. It's a 1-0 lead for Sacramento as we go to the bottom of the first. For the Gems, it'll be Sordal, McKee, and Santiago due up.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family-owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center, from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
For the Heat, with a run already on the board, it's number 33, Justin Kotinger. He'll be doing the pitching today for Sacramento, trying to grab their first win against the Gems. Currently, the Gems 3-0 against the Heat as they grab that 20-18 victory in just the first conference game of the season, and then were able to get both games of the doubleheader yesterday. For Kotinger, making his first start on the year. He's appeared in 5 games out of the bullpen. He's thrown 12 innings, given up 22 hits, 16 runs, 14 of which are earned, 5 walks to 9 strikeouts, 0-1 record on the year, a 10.50 ERA for Kotinger. He'll be facing off against Steve Sordahl, leading off for the Gems. On deck is Keone McKee, and in the hole, Nelson Santiago. Sordahl hitting from the right side, waiting for Kotinger, the lefty. And the pitch. Fastball called strike 1 on Sordahl. Sordahl comes into today hitting .375 on the year. He went 3 for 7 yesterday in both games, scoring a pair of runs. Long set from Kotinger. Now he kicks and fires the 0-1. Up on the first base side, rushing after it is Willite, and he will grab it in foul territory. A long run right in front of the fence along the first base pavilion. That'll be out number 1. Marcus Willite, the first baseman for the Heat. A very good defensive first baseman. Very aware with his footwork. Jordan Zaragoza at second base. Jack Walsh at shortstop. Damian Chavez at third base. It's the Gem shortstop, Keone McKee, at the plate now with 1 out. And the pitch up high on the outside half. 1-0 the count against McKee. He went 1 for 3 in game 2 with a run scored. He's hitting .280 on the year. He's dealing with a little bit of tenderness in his right knee. The Gems trying to use him effectively. The 1-0 down low. 2-0 the count. In the outfield for the Heat, it's Jackson Murphy in left field, Guillermo Salazar in center field, and Connor Floyd in right. It's a 2-0 count for McKee. The Heat on top of the Gems 1-0. We're in the bottom of the first. The 2-0 pitch, ground foul down the third base side. Took a big hop in fair territory, worked its way foul right over the bag, and will end up out in the corner in left field. Jackson Murphy will have to go and retrieve that one. It's 3:25 down the lines here at Kiger Stadium. 350 to the respective centers, and 385 after the wall out in center field. Kotinger taking a long time, gets the sign from Beatty, fires the 2-1. And that'll be a called strike off the outside edge. 2-2 the count. We saw home plate umpires in both games yesterday, Joel Woodley and Corey Stratton, give a little bit off of both edges, and it looks like home plate umpire Scott Keppel doing largely the same here this afternoon. Swung over the top into the dirt. Beatty will say he gloved it, and Keppel agrees, so it's a strikeout swinging. His first of the game for Kotinger. It'll bring up Nelson Santiago, the first baseman for the Gems. He had a huge game yesterday in game 1 of the doubleheader in the bottom of the second. He hit his first home run of the year, a grand slam to blow that game wide open. And they didn't give him a whole lot of attempts to hit after that as he sees a pitch outside. Ball 1. The big lefty bat calls New York home. Plays baseball at Mid-America Nazarene University, and now he's playing college ball out here on the West Coast, so he's migrated his way from New York to the Midwest and now out to the West Coast. He's got a 2-0 count now, does Nelson. Big open stance in the left-handed batter's box, waving the bat behind his left shoulder. Kotinger, the 2-0. Up into the air on the third base side. Chavez will watch it fall up into the party deck, take a bounce, and over into the Heat bullpen. Strike 1. And with 2 outs, the Heat electing to put the shift on for Nelson. Third baseman Chavez playing in the 6 hole. Walsh, the shortstop, on the left center field grass, and second baseman Zaragoza in shallow right field. To 2-1. Bounced in, 3-1 the count now. As Coach Johnson shouts a word of encouragement from his spot at the first base coaching box. Coach Alvarado coaching third base. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. A 1-0 lead for the Heat. The 3-1 pitch to Santiago. Big grounder into shallow right field where the second baseman Zaragoza is placed. So the shift works there for the Heat, and Nelson Santiago is retired. 3 up, 3 down for the Gems as we are through 1 here in Klamath Falls. Marcus Willite, Jordan Zaragoza, and Jake Doty due up for the Heat. They're on top, 1-0.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls. Their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS. Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by...
Onto the mound. Be facing up against Marcus Willite, hitting in the 5 spot for the Heat. Willite playing only in game 1, went 1 for 4 with a run scored. Hitting from the left side, he gets a called strike on the outside half. Slight breeze blowing out to center field, ruffling the American flag. The 0-1 will again go outside a little bit too far outside. 1-1 the count from Jarbo. Sinkovic about a couple steps off the grass on the third base side. The 1-1 drive into center field. Sordal takes a couple steps to his right and gets underneath it for out number 1. A good swing on it from Willite, but hung up in the air far too long, especially with the speed of Sordal. Playing him a little bit more towards right center field. Ends up being a straightaway center field where it goes. It'll bring up number 14, Jordan Zaragoza, the second baseman, hitting from the right side. First pitch swinging up into the air into right field. Engman tracking back at it. That'll take a hit off of the warning track, bounce off of the wall, die at the base of the wall, and charging for 3 is Zaragoza. The throw will be off the bag at third base. Sliding in safely for a triple is Zaragoza. Able to put a right on that one to the opposite field. Hit it right off of the warning track, and it died off of the wall. Made a tough play for Engman out there. Still a relatively close play at third base, but the throw just a bit offline, and Zaragoza is at third base. Zaragoza didn't play in either of the games yesterday, so making the most of his opportunity in his first at-bat by getting a triple. 1 out, and Zaragoza at third base for Jake Doty, the DH. He caught and played first base yesterday. As Jarbo back in the stretch. First pitch, called strike on the inside part of the plate on Doty. Doty went 0 for 2 in game 2. He's also walked. And in game 1, he went 0 for 3 with a run scored after being hit by a pitch. He takes a big cut at one on the outside edge. Strike 2, chasing away. Corners are in defensively for the Gems. Santiago 1 step off the grass at first base. Sinkovic couple of steps off at third base. As Zaragoza takes his lead. Pitch outside, 1-2 the count, trying to get Doty to chase. One out, 1-run lead for the Heat, trying to extend it here. The pitch sent back into the screen, fouled off by Doty, battling against Jarbo. Jarbo gets the go-ahead to play from the home plate umpire, Scott Keppel. In the field today, it's Rick Abel. The 1-2. Jam shot on the inside, working into foul territory is Santiago, and he can't find it. Trying to basket catch at the last second, right near the wall. Jake Doty breaks his bat on that pop-up foul. He's going to have to go and retrieve a new one from the bench. Picks one up from the catcher, Justin Beatty. Pitch in on the handle, was able to fight it off, but ended up breaking his bat in the process. It's a 1-2 count after the foul up that couldn't be caught by Santiago. And strike three, looking a fastball on the outside edge. Both of Jarbo's strikeouts have come looking, and that'll bring up number 16, Connor Floyd, the right fielder, hitting from left-handed batter's box. As the home plate umpire will pick up a piece of that broken bat that had made its way over behind the lefty batter's box, fulling it behind home plate before Floyd steps in. Now he's all settled, and fastball low on the outside half, ball one. Floyd, like Zaragoza, didn't play in either of the doubleheader games. He's in right field today. Rapolo got both the starts in right field yesterday, so he gets the day off. It's a 1-0, and he checks his swing, goes around. Strike one. Couldn't hold back. That one was in the dirt, dropping off the table from Jarbo. Jordan Zaragoza stands at third base after he tripled with one out. Jake Doty struck out looking. Now it's a 1-1 count. And this one will be ground over to Sinkovich. Plays it on one high hop, a throw to Santiago in time for out number 3. The triple from Zaragoza brings up nothing for the Heat as they score no runs on that one hit, the triple. No errors, and one left on base. It's a 1-0 lead for the Heat as we go to the bottom half of the second. It'll be the 4, 5, 6 hitters for the Gems. Hermes, Sinkovich, and Carswell are due up. Attention parents and kids, the Gems coaches and players will be conducting a baseball camp June 22nd through June 24th, as well as July 20th through July 22nd for players age 5 through 16. You will get an outstanding instruction in pitching, hitting, infield, outfield, base running, and much more. The cost is just $45 per camper and will be held at the home of the Gems, Kiger Stadium. For more information, log on to KlamathFallsGems.com and go to camp registration. Learn from the very best players, your Klamath Falls Gems.
The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the press box here at Kiger Stadium. I'm Nick Winstead. You're listening to Gems Live. It's a 1-0 lead for the Sacramento Heat over the Gems. The Gems are trying to go for the sweep here, being able to take both games of the doubleheader yesterday after originally scheduled game on Friday. The rare rainout here at Kiger. Scheduled for a 6:35 start on Friday. Some rain rolled through at about 2 or 3 o'clock and just kept on pounding the field. Made it unplayable, and the Gems had to get here early on Saturday morning to make sure that they would be able to have the field ready to roar by 5:30 to start off game 1 of the doubleheader, but the hard work paid off, and they ended up getting 2 victories out of it. It's Nick Hermes, the DH, hitting from the right side, the switch hitter from Chabot College, a called strike on the outside half. Hermes hitting .263 on the year. He went 0 for 2 in Game 2 after lacing a double in the right center in Game 1. The 0-1. Shot foul right over towards the Heat dugout. Strike 2. Hermes sporting the tall black socks as he takes a long look at his bat as he digs back into the right side. Kotinger waiting patiently for him. The lefty-righty matchup. An 0-2 count. The pitch. Fastball away. 1-2 the count. Scattered clouds far off in the distance here. Blue skies right above Kiger. A nice day for baseball here in Klamath Falls. The 1-2 pitch from Kotinger. And that will be fouled off by Hermes, just barely getting a piece of that one as it was sent right back to the backstop. Looks like it might have caught a piece of the catcher, Beatty, on the way. But staying alive is Hermes. Gems looking for their first hit. They went down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. It's a 1-0 lead for the Heat. Setting, kicking, and firing. Fastball away. Strike 3. Looking. Second strikeout on the afternoon for Kotinger. And he's given that outside part of the plate to both teams, and the hitters have yet to adjust. That'll bring up Colin Sinkovich, the third baseman for the Gems. He steps into the right-hand batter's box. He went 2 for 3 in Game 1 with a run and an RBI, but in Game 2, 0 for 3. So look to get back as he takes a big swing and a miss on pitch number 1 of the at-bat from Kotinger. Kotinger, long look in at Beatty. Now begins his motion. Big chopper to the right side. Zaragoza had to play it in shallow right field, but gets it away in time. Wilhite gloves it to beat out the speedy Sinkovich for out number 2. That'll bring up Wes Carswell playing at second base today for the Gems. Carswell started Game 1, had 4 plate appearances, but only 1 at bat. He went 0 for 1. But scored 2 runs and had an RBI. He was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded to bring in a run, and then walked and eventually scored in the 5th. He had a sacrifice bunt as well. Fastball away for ball 1 on Carswell. And in Game 2, he came in as a pinch hitter and had a sacrifice bunt in the 6th, where the Gems were able to take a 2-1 lead, and that would be the final margin in that one. It's a 1-0 count now, 2 outs to Carswell. The 1-0. Way out in front of that one, strike 1. 1-1 count now as Kotinger took something off of that one, and Carswell was not ready for it. Kotinger, the lefty, gets the sign from Beatty, begins his motion, the pitch. Fouled right past Coach Alvarado in the third base coaching box. Strike 2. A little bit of shade making its way onto the infield now from the overhang, and a light fixture as well. Eventually that'll start playing a little bit of havoc with the hitters as the pitcher will be in the sun and the plate will be entirely in shade. But as for now, not too bad. The 1-2. Carswell puts that one right up the middle into center field. A 2-out single for Wes Carswell. He battles and was able to find a hole in the defense for the first hit of the game for the Gems. That'll bring up Hector Hernandez, the left fielder for the Gems. Hector batting 1,000 on the year. Coming up with his black and gold Nike cleats. And for his white jersey days, he's got white cleats. His black tops, he's got black cleats. He's ready for it all. He's got a runner on with 2 outs. And the first pitch to Hector is a huge fly ball into left field. Jackson Murphy glove up in front of his face, and that will be out number 3. Put a good swing on it, but it hung up in the air, and that'll be out number 3. The Gems get their first hit, but Wes Carswell is left stranded. It's a 1-0 lead for the Heat after 2. We go to the top of the third, and for the Heat, it'll be the catcher, Justin Beatty, rolling back over to the top of the lineup with leadoff man Chavez and Jack Walsh due up.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
A 1-0 lead for the Heat as we go into the third here at Kiger Stadium. Sacramento looking for their first win against Klamath Falls on the year. Currently the Gems 3-0 against the Heat. They'll send up Justin Beatty to the plate for his first plate appearance. Hitting in the 9-hole. So far, the lone run in this game came with the leadoff hitter, Chavez, who was on deck. He was hit by a pitch, stole a pair of bags, and brought in by a Jack Walsh single as Jarbo fires the first pitch of the third. That will be shot. One hop to Sinkovich playing on the infield grass, and a fast out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out for Justin Beatty. We'll roll back to the top of the order for Sacramento. It'll be number 13, Damian Chavez. Chavez got tagged in that front shoulder by a fastball that ran away from Jarbo. He felt no ill effects from it, however, as I mentioned, stole second, stole third, and then scored the only run of the game. Jarbo nods in agreement with Mensing, begins his motion, and fires. First pitch up in the air on the right field side, shallow right field. Carswell calling off Engman, falling down, making the grab, tumbling down, but staying with it, as Wes Carswell sticks with it for out number 2. That'll bring up Jack Walsh, the shortstop, who has one of the 2 hits on the day for the Heat, an RBI single. He stole second base and was doubled up on a line drive to Sinkovich at third base as he steps in, looks down in the third base coaching box. The Heat coached by head coach Trevor Payne, assisted by Max Anderson and Jason Hampton. First pitch inside, ball 1. It was in a full count that Walsh hit his RBI single, able to put it out into left center field. The 1-0. High, a little less inside, but a ball nonetheless. 2-0 the count. 2 outs here in the top of the third as Jarbo steps back onto the rubber, glove up in front of his face, takes a deep breath, kicks and fires. Fastball low, 3-0 the count. Some shouts of encouragement come from the Gems dugout, located on the first base side. A called strike on the inside half to make it a 3-1 count as Walsh was taking all the way there. Not a right down the middle strike, though, but certainly over the plate. The 3-1. Ball 4. High pitch. Walking Walsh. The first walk of the game for Jarbo. He'd previously hit a batter, but no walks. It'll bring up Guillermo Salazar. Salazar, as I mentioned, lined out to Sinkovich. A diving play for Sinkovich. He got up and fired over to Carswell, covering second to double up Walsh, who is now at first base. Walsh swiped second when he got a chance, and they'll throw over to first. Already using their speed. They've got 3 stolen bases, all 3 of them coming from the top 2 guys. Chavez with a pair, Walsh with 1. Salazar will have to wait once again for his first pitch, as another throw over will not be in time. Walsh diving in head first. Santiago covering the bag. Carswell playing a little bit closer to second than normal spacing. McKee, normal depth out at shortstop, as Mensing will go have and talk with Jarbo. James Mensing, the 5'11", 205-pound redshirt freshman from Minot State, calls Staten, Oregon home. Back down in the squad. Jarbo goes to Davis and Elkins College, calls Mechanicsville, Maryland home. Pitch out, throw down, and getting him on the base paths. Jack Walsh is caught stealing. After the conversation on the mound, a pitch out is called, and Jack Walsh gets gunned down for out number 3. No runs on, no hits, no errors, and none left aboard for the Heat as we go to the bottom of the third. Due up for the Gems, it's Mensing, Engman, and Sordall as the Gems trail the Heat 1-0.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS. Justin Kotinger out on the mound. He's looked sharp today. Has allowed just 1 hit. Carswell single up the middle with 2 outs, and then promptly got Hernandez to fly out to end the second. Already has a pair of strikeouts, and a pitcher's duel developing here in Klamath Falls between Jarbo and Kotinger. It'll be James Mensing at the plate, who was able to throw out Jack Walsh on a pitch out. After the conversation on the mound, they elected to still steal afterwards and paid the price for it. Mensing steps into the right-handed batter's box. The first pitch from Kotinger. Low, outside, ball 1. Mensing comes into this at-bat hitting .286 on the year in his limited playing time. He's made the most of it. The 1-0 from Kotinger. Swung on down the third baseline, slow roller, picked up on the transfer from Chavez, and in time. Chavez making a nice play as that one softly chopped right down the third baseline. He had to charge, and he was playing off the bag, but is able to get a quick throw over to Wilhite and beat out Mensing for out number 1. That'll bring up Isaiah Engman hitting in the 9th spot, really a second leadoff hitter for the Gems. He went 2 for 4 in game 1 with a pair of RBIs in his first 2 at-bats, as they'll bring in the third baseman. Chavez squares up to bunt, pulling back, called strike 1. Engman, the right fielder, trying to get something going for the top of the order. Swung on, fouled off of the catcher, Beatty. Strike 2. It's a 0-2 count for Engman as he digs in. Kodenger shakes off a sign from Beatty, finds the one he likes now, begins his windup and the pitch. Hop into left center field. Salazar takes over and drifts to his right for out number 2. Just getting underneath it there was Engman. And that'll bring up Sordal for the second time today. Sordal started off the game offensively for the Gems with a pop out in foul territory to the first baseman, Willite. As he steps in, 2 outs in the bottom of the third, a 1-0 lead for the Heat. Sordal watches first pitch called strike by Scott Keppel, the home plate umpire. Rick Abel out in the field. Just a 2-umpire set here for the Gems and all the rest of the teams in the Golden State League. It's an 0-1 pitch. Watches it bounce in low. 1-1 the count to Sordal. Sordal made a couple of great plays out in the field last night. A full extension, diving catch, able to rob a hit from Jackson Murphy. The 1-1 pitch. And that will be shot foul down the third baseline, right where Coach Alvarado would have been had he not been over talking with the Heat on their dugout, taking a lean on the rail. Strike 2. Talking with their coaching staff. Fresh baseball out to Kodenger. It's a 1-2 count to Sordal. Dropping and firing. Getting off the end of the bat over into shallow right field. Zaragoza fields it and in time on the throw to Willite. Had to track over to his left, spin and fire, but a strong throw to Willite, who is a good first baseman, made it look easy, but it's 3 up, 3 down, 4 straight retired by Kodenger as we go to the 4th. Still just a 1-run lead for the Heat. That lone run coming in the top of the first. As Jarbo and Kodenger have both settled in nicely for the Heat. It'll be the 3, 4, 5 hitters due up: Salazar, Murphy, and Willite.
Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center, from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you.
It's a 1-0 lead for the Heat. Going into the 4th here, as the throw goes down from Ryan Mendoza entering into the game, taking over for James Mensing. A defensive switch. Mendoza caught both games yesterday. He only gets 3 innings of rest here today before having to take over for Mensing. Jarbo, the glove up in front of his face, will be facing up against Salazar. First pitch, fastball inside, runs all the way to the backstop. A pitch that got away once again from Jarbo. And Mendoza will go out and hand deliver that one to Jarbo. Jarbo has experienced a little bit of wildness thus far and normally pounds the zone, but a couple of pitches here and there have been getting away from him, but nothing that has hurt him yet. He hasn't left anything up in the zone to hit for the Heat, but a couple of near misses inside. It's a 1-0 count now to Salazar, leading off the top of the 4th. The pitch down low now, 2-0 the count. Salazar was at the plate when Walsh was gunned down on the pitch out, caught stealing. Big swing and a miss. Strike one. Blowing it past Salazar's Jarbo. It's a 2-1 count now. As Jarbo continues to work, and now it's a 3-1 count. He's only had 2 3-ball counts coming into this at bat, and now he's made it 3 here against Salazar. Deep breath, working from the first base side. Jarbo, and past the dive of Sinkovich at third base into left field. A rocket off the bat of Salazar for the 3rd hit of the game. That'll put him aboard for Jackson Murphy, who struck out looking his first time up. Double play depth up the middle with Carswell and McKee for the Gems. Sinkovich playing off the line at third base. Santiago holding on Salazar. Changeup missing upstairs from Jarbo. 1-0 the count on Murphy. Salazar taking his lead. And the pitch from Jarbo up into the air into center field. Sordal drifting over towards right center. Will take a few steps in and glove it for out number 1. A non-productive out from Murphy keeps Salazar at first base. Will bring up Marcus Willite, who, like Murphy, flew out to Sordal his last time up. With Willite, Sordal only had to take a pair of steps to his right. They're playing him more towards right center field. Not an extreme as the runner goes. Throw down will have to wait as Mendoza pops it up right out of his hand on the glove transfer. A cleanly stolen bag from Salazar takes the double play off the table and puts himself into scoring position for Willite. Willite hitting .237 and 39 at bats. A 1-1 count now on Willite. 1 out, 1 on, and the top of the 4th, and it's a 1-0 lead for the Heat here in Klamath Falls. Gems going for the sweep and stepping off and sending Salazar back to the bag is Jarbo. We saw McKee set up a nice back pick last night. They might try and do the same here to Salazar now. He bluffs the back pick. Now he retreats back. It's a 1-1 count. This one is up and in the air, foul on the left field side over the top of the bullpen, and caroms around for strike 2. Hector Hernandez took a few steps towards the line, realized that one's going to be well foul, and heads back to his spot out in left field. It's a 1-2 count. 1 out as Jarbo gets the go-ahead to play from Keppel. Jarbo working from the stretch, looks back at second base, dancing around is Salazar. The 1-2 pitch, tapped foul to the backstop. Just getting a piece of that one on the end of his bat was Willite, hitting from the left side, the righty-lefty matchup. Jarbo, glove resting on the front hip, brings the ball into his glove at the chest. Again, a long look out at second base from Jarbo. Now will come home. The 1-2 will be hit off the end of the bat. Foul right in on the hand of Willite. He was able to get Jackson Murphy to break his bat in his first at bat on a pitch and on the hands. Jarbo nods in agreement with Mendoza. The 1-2, runner goes, pitch out, throw down to third base. In time, gunned down is Salazar, the second runner caught stealing on the afternoon. First one for Mendoza. Ended up being a perfect pitch to Mendoza to throw on, as there was a pitch outside in the right-handed batter's box. Already Mendoza was loaded and ready to fire out towards third base, and Sinkovich in perfect position, covering and blocking the base with his legs and applying the tag for out number 2. It's A 2-2 count now to Willite. The pitch will be sent out into left center field right off the end of the bat for a single. Just waving the end of the bat out there and able to get enough on it to send it up and over McKee and drop it in front of both Sordal and Hernandez, converging out there in left center field. It's a 2-out single for Willite, his first hit of the game, and that'll bring up Jordan Zaragoza. Zaragoza tripled into right field, hit it off of the warning track, took one hop off of the fence and died. Made it a tough play for Engman, the right fielder for the Gems. Fastball high and inside, says Zaragoza, nearly falling over as Jarbo continues to experience a little bit of trouble locating that fastball. It's a 1-0 count. 2 outs. Willite at first base. A 1-0 lead for the Heat. We're in top of the fourth here at Klamath Falls. A beautiful day here in Southern Oregon. The 1-0 as the runner goes. Mendoza fires down and getting him again. The second caught stealing of the inning. Maybe the Heat will learn this time, as they will have the third base runner caught stealing on the game. 2 in 1 inning from Mendoza. We go to the bottom of the fourth. The Gems trailing the Heat by 1. It'll be McKee, Santiago, and Hermes due up.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family-owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center, from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
A throw goes down from Beatty out to second base. Maybe trying to learn a thing or two from Ryan Mendoza, who has looked stellar behind the plate and just so far of 1 inning of work, taking over for James Mensing behind the plate. It'll be Keone McKee coming up to the plate. McKee struck out swinging his first time up. The Gems only have 1 hit in this game compared to the Heat's 4 hits. As this one will be rolled over and past the glove of Chavez at third base and into left field. A leadoff single for McKee on the first pitch, as Chavez tried to lean out for that one over to his left, unable to get to it in time, and that'll bring up Nelson Santiago. And with a runner aboard, they will still put the shift on for Nelson. A lot of room down the third base line if he wanted to maybe try and lay down a bunt. Chavez is playing at shortstop. Santiago with good speed. He'll take a big cut instead. Strike 1, blowing it by him is Kodinger. Both players, McKee and Santiago alike, looking at Coach Alvarado, giving the signs on the third base side. It's an 0-1 count. 1 on, no outs in the bottom of the fourth. Kodinger looks over at McKee, double looks. Now will go home, and runner goes. The throw will be not in time. McKee swipes the bag cleanly. He's in scoring position now for Santiago, and with that, Chavez will head over to third base, a little bit closer to the bag at least. And he has to cover now with Santiago at the plate. They'll leave Walsh high up the middle and Zaragoza in shallow right field, but they have to shift Chavez over, cover third base. And now Kodinger wants to have a talk with Beatty behind the plate as they meet halfway. Glove up in front of the face of Kodinger. A 1-0 lead for the Heat. And for the first time today, the Gems have a player in scoring position. Just 2 hits on the day for Klamath Falls. Carswell had the first hit, a 2-out single up the middle, and Keone McKee able to sneak one past Chavez at third base, and after cleanly swiping the bag, he's at second base for Santiago, who hit the grand slam home run in game 1 yesterday as Kodinger settles in at the rubber. The 1-1 pitch. High and into the air, into center field. Salazar drifting back over to his left. Now he'll get it. A strong throw into the infield, but not in time as McKee will be in at third base easily. A productive flyout from Nelson Santiago advances McKee to third base with 1 out for Nick Hermes, the designated hitter, who struck out looking on a fastball off the plate. As Scott Keppel, the home plate umpire, is willing to give that a little bit of extra room on both edges of the plates to both squads, but for the hitters, they're still used to perhaps a more traditional zone. He wasn't pleased with that one, but he's got a chance to tie the game here as McKee dances around at third base. The first pitch, fastball, called strike on the outside half. 0-1 the count. McKee with his lead at third base. Hermes hitting from the right side, the switch hitting Nick Hermes. The lefty on the mound, he'll hit from the right side. The 0-1 will be ground to shortstop, and it'll be an RBI ground out for Nick Hermes, tying the game with a out to shortstop. Keone McKee makes the most of his hit. Steals second, advances on the flyout from Santiago, and comes in to score to tie the game on Nick Hermes' ground out. No chance for the shortstop Walsh as that one was hit right off in front of home plate, so McKee knew he was going to just break for the plate, and with his speed, there was no chance for a play at the plate, wisely going to first base for the second out. That'll bring up Sinkovich, who, after a first pitch, misses ahead in the count, 1-0. The pitch from Kodinger bounced in front of the plate, 2-0 the count. Curveball didn't quite make it to the plate. Kodinger gets a new baseball, brings it into his glove, working from the windup now. The 2-0. Been ground right back to the mound as Kodinger gloves it, throws to Willite for out number 3. The Gems able to tie the game at 1 after Keone McKee gets the Gems' second hit of the day and is brought in eventually by a Nick Hermes ground out. 1-1 in Klamath Falls as we are through 4. We head to the top of the 5th, and for the Heat, it'll be Jordan Zargosa, Jake Doty, and Connor Floyd due up.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS.
A 1-1 game between the Heat and the Gems. I'm Nick Winstead. You're listening to Gems Live. It's Noah Jarbo out on the mound for the Gems, and it's a pitcher's duel between he and Justin Kotenger, but the Gems able to knot it up at 1 in the bottom half of the 4th. It'll be Zaragoza who was at the plate when Willite was caught stealing, the second runner caught stealing in the inning. As this one will be grounded on one hop to third baseman Sinkovich. Strong throw, and out number 1. And that'll bring up Jake Doty after the 1 pitch out from Zaragoza. The DH Doty struck out looking. Second strikeout of the game for Jarbo. Back in the second. Jarbo sets, nods in agreement with Mendoza. The pitch up and into the air into right field. Engman will watch that one drop in front of him. And like Zaragoza, swinging on the first pitch is Doty, but this one a single. 5th hit of the game for the Heat. Their lone run coming in the first as Damian Chavez was hit by a pitch, stole second base, subsequently stole third and was brought in by a Jack Walsh single into left field. We'll see if they test the arm of Mendoza again. Quick throw over to first base from Jarbo, trying to keep Doty closer to the bag. Doty played first base in game 2, and he caught game 1, and he's the DH today. And that one is swung on, ends up fouling it off of Floyd for strike 1. Floyd, the right fielder. He grounded out to third baseman Sinkovich his first time up. He comes up with 1 on, 1 out. Another throw over to first base, a little bit high. Santiago has to jump up to grab it, but keeps it in front of him. Diving back in safely as Doty is Floyd, the left-handed hitting right fielder, waits patiently in the box. The pitch will be shot into the glove of Carswell on one hop. A diving play, and he throws it over to first base. That's the second great play made by Wes Carswell today. One a tumbling catch out in right field. And now, spectacular dive to keep that one from getting into right field and robbing a hit from Connor Floyd. Out number 2, Jake Doty advances to second base. It'll bring up the catcher, Justin Beatty, who led off the third with a ground out to Sinkovich on 1 pitch. He's got a runner in scoring position, a 1-1 game as McKee bluffs the back pick. Fastball inside, called strike 1 as I mentioned earlier, getting a little bit of room off of both sides of the plate are both pitchers, and Jarbo using it there on the inside. Jarbo looks back to second, now turns and fires. Called strike 2, dropping in a pitch against Beatty. He's up 0-2, 2 outs. A 1-1 game between the Heat and the Gems. The Gems trying for the sweep, could be their first sweep of the year. The 0-2 pitch. And not getting the call is Jarbo. He was already walking towards the dugout. Ball 1. It's a 1-2 count after the near miss from Jarbo against Beatty. Beatty choking up on the bat. The 1-2 will be over the head of McKee at shortstop. Hector Hernandez cuts it off on the backhand, but the throw will have to go to the infield. Scoring from second base is Doty. An RBI single from Beatty into left center field puts the Heat back on top, 2-1. It'll bring up Damian Chavez, the leadoff hitter, who is 0 for 1 today, but has a run scored after he was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. Jarbo working from the stretch now with Beatty aboard at first base. We'll take a quick trip off the mound, rub up the baseball. as the shadows beginning to creep their way further into the playing surface. It's about halfway between the plate and the mound where the shadows begin. Advantage pitchers there. The first pitch of the at-bat to Chavez. Fastball low and inside. Ball one. On deck for the Heat, it's Jack Walsh. In the hole, Guillermo Salazar. Jarbo looking over at first base. Will go home. Fastball high and inside. 2-0 the count. The slightest of breezes blowing in from center field now. The 2-0. Called strike with the count of 2-1 with 2 outs. It's a 2-1 lead for the Heat. Tied coming into this inning, but the Heat able to take back the lead as the Gems had just tied it up in the bottom of the fourth. As this one is shot foul. Ends up hitting right into the Gems bullpen located beyond the first base pavilion. A 2-2 count now on the leadoff man Chavez, who steps back in after a couple swings outside of the box. Justin Beatty at first base after driving in the go-ahead run. The 2-2 pitch. Whiff, swing and a miss for Chavez as he chased outside and he throws his bat over towards the Heat dugout. Not pleased there, but it's strikeout number 3 on the day for Noah Jarbo. The Heat retake the lead on the RBI single from Justin Beatty. It's a 2-1 advantage for the Heat as we go to the bottom of the 5th. 2 up for the Gems. It'll be Carswell, Hernandez, and Mendoza.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
After having tied up the game, the Gems watch the Heat retake the lead in the top half of the 5th. We are in the bottom of the 5th now. Wes Carswell, who had the first hit of the game for the Gems in his first plate appearance, a 2-out single up the middle. He's due up first. He's looked good in all aspects of the game thus far. At the plate, 1 for 1, has made a couple of spectacular plays out in the field at second base as he begins strolling up to the right-handed batter's box. Justin Kotinger still working out on the mound, has looked very sharp for the Heat. As Carswell is announced, gets a round of applause from the fans. Justly deserved. Kotinger drops the glove, kicks and fires. First pitch, and that one is sent back into the screen by Carswell. Just a little bit early. There's Carswell, strike 1. As Kotinger will rub up a fresh baseball. The lefty-righty matchup has looked sharp thus far. Only one guy has been in scoring position. That was McKee, and he was able to come in. Other than that, the Gems just with those 2 hits, one from Carswell, one from McKee. The Heat have 6 hits, 2 runs to show for it. It's a 1-1 count after a miss to Carswell from Kotinger. The pitch up and in the air on the right side. Willite and Floyd trying to converge on that one. It'll hit off of the glove of Floyd in foul territory. Right on the line. A long run for Floyd, Zaragoza, and Willite. Floyd had the best angle at it. Everybody else backed off and ends up hitting right off of his glove. Strike 2 and break for Carswell as he'll live to see another pitch. One and two count as Kodinger will receive another new baseball. Getting the go-ahead to play from Scott Keppel now is Kodinger. He'll step onto the rubber. Looking at Beatty, nods in agreement with the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Low. 2-2 the count, trying to get Carswell to chase. Center fielder Salazar shaded more towards right field. Just a few steps, though. Big gap in left center field, however, for Carswell, and down the line as well if he can get it over the head of Chavez, who's playing off at third base. The 2-2 pitch. Big grounder to the shortstop. Walsh plays it on a high hop, lines it over to Willite, who has to drop down to one knee, but makes the grab nonetheless. Out number one after a battle from Carswell. That'll bring up Hector Hernandez. Hernandez flew out on one pitch, put a good swing of the bat on it, but got a little bit underneath it with Carswell aboard back in the second. Going into that at bat, he was hitting 1,000 on the year, so he's dropped down to just 500. What a bum. He sees first pitch strike, does Hector. Hector guy always cracking jokes. Good guy to have in the dugout, keeps the mood light. He loads back behind his right shoulder. His black and maple bat. And called strike 2 on the outside half. As Hernandez having a quick word with the home plate umpire, just making sure where that strike zone is. Off the plate. It's an 0-2 count for Hernandez, the left fielder, as this one will be low off the plate, trying to get him to swing and miss. Hernandez takes a quick step out, stretches out his legs for digging back in. So 1-2 count. Ryan Mendoza on deck. Swing and a miss into the dirt, but gloved quickly by Beatty to tag out Hernandez for the second out of the inning. As Ryan Mendoza, taking over for James Mensive defensively back in the fourth, comes to the plate. As the plate will be swiped clean by the home plate umpire, Keppel. First time up today for Mendoza. He caught both of the games yesterday. He went 0 for 2 with an intentional walk in game 2 after going 1 for 3, scoring a pair of runs in game 1. He sees first pitch miss from Kodinger. After that strikeout of Hernandez, Kodinger has retired 5 straight gems. It's a 1-0 count. And a called strike cutting across the plate in the lefty-lefty matchup. As Jarbo will try and stay loose over beyond the Gems dugout. The 1-1. And Mendoza puts that one foul down the first baseline. Rick Abel having to scoot out of the way as he's playing just on the right field grass beyond first base. It's a 1-2 count. Coach Johnson coaching first base. Coach Alvarado at third. A 1-2 count, 2 outs, and a 2-1 lead for the Heat. The pitch missing upstairs on the breaking pitch is Kodinger on Mendoza. 2-2 count. Kodinger working a little bit more towards the third base side than normal against the lefty. And the big chopper over to the second baseman, Zaragoza, is gloved cleanly and fired over to Wilhite for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down in the bottom half of the 5th as the Gems can't respond to the one put on the board by the Heat in the top half of the inning. It remains a 2-1 lead for Sacramento over Klamath Falls as we go to the 6th. Due up for Sacramento, it'll be Walsh, Salazar, and Murphy.
Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you.
A 2-1 lead for the Heat here in the pitcher's duel in Game 3. It was very much a pitcher's duel in Game 2 as well after the offensive explosion in Game 1. An 11-9 victory for the Gems, highlighted by the 7-run bottom of the second. It was a 2-1 victory for the Gems in Game 2. Dakota Wendell and Karsten Lee dueling deep into the 7-inning game. Jacob Trujillo comes on late, ends up getting the victory. Right now it's between Jarbo and Cottinger. Jack Walsh comes to the plate for the 3rd time. He's 1 for 1. He walked and was caught stealing his 2nd time up. Fastball inside, ball 1. Jarbo with the glove up in front of his face gets the sign from Mendoza, the 1-0. Called strike 1. Evens the count at 1-all. Walsh drove in Damian Chavez for the first run of the game. Back in the 1st as he squares up to bunt and whiffs on his bunt attempt. Strike 2. Left the barrel of the bat over the plate trying to put it down the 3rd baseline as Sinkovich is playing off, and he continues to play off with 2 strikes. The 1-2. Drive into right center field. Sordall chasing after it, and with his speed, he gets there with plenty of time. It was hung up in the air. Fly out, or out number 1. Eggman backing him up out there in right field. Sordall got a great jump on that one. Hitting underneath it was Walsh, but still put a good swing on it nonetheless. That'll bring up Guillermo Salazar. Salazar is 1 for 2. His last time up. Led off the 4th with a single and stole a base and then was caught stealing at 3rd. Ball 1 fired in from Jarbo. The Shadows continue to work their way up towards a 3rd base dirt. Fastball inside, called strike 1. Working up from the overhang as we're nearing when play would normally begin on most Gems games. 6:35 starts for the most games here at Kiger Stadium for the Gems. Another miss inside from Jarbo. 2-1 the count. Where the Shadows have almost made their way to the front of the mound. Both teams having to deal with that. Watching the ball move from sun into shadow for the batters, a tough thing to pick up as this one is hit sky high into shallow left field. Keone McKee out there working back and dives to recover as that began drifting back towards left field from the line. He stays with it. He was out there in a flash, and he's able to stick with it as it moved with the wind high above Kiger. Out number 2. That'll bring up Jackson Murphy, the left fielder and cleanup hitter. He's 0 for 2 today. A strikeout looking at a flyout to Sordall out in center field. Jarbo begins his motion. The pitch. Strike one called. Heading the count on Murphy. The 0-1. Left a little bit high. 1-1 the count. Murphy was at the plate to end game two. Hit into that game-ending 5-4-3 double play. Rolled it over to Sinkovich. It's a 1-1 count. Called strike two. It's caught looking. Another pitch. Double taps the end of the bat off of home plate. Loads behind his right shoulder. The 1-2 pitch. Up and over the top of the overhang and into the parking lot behind Kiger Stadium. It's a 1-2 count. 2 outs. As Jarbo gets back onto the mound. The fresh baseball. Kicks and fires. Slider outside, couldn't get Murphy to chase. 2-2 the count. It's a 2-1 lead for the Heat over the Gems. We're in the top half of the 6th. Gems plated their lone run in the bottom of the 4th. The Heat respond immediately with another run in the top of the 5th. The 2-2 pitch. Low and inside. 3-2 the count now. It was a 1-2 count. Mendoza and Jarbo are trying to get Murphy to chase and end up running the count full after a couple of misses. First outside, then inside. The payoff pitch from Jarbo. Strike three, looking a fastball on the inside, and for the second time today, Murphy is left at the plate to end an inning after striking out looking as he now begins his slow trot back to the dugout. Stayed in there maybe about 5 beats too long, show his discontent with Scott Keppel. That is the 4th strikeout on the day for Jarbo as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Due up for the Gems, it's Engman, Sordall, and McKee in a 2-1 lead for the Heat.
Attention parents and kids, the Gems coaches and players will be conducting a baseball camp June 22nd through June 24th, as well as July 20th through July 22nd for players age 5 through 16. You will get an outstanding instruction in pitching, hitting, infield, outfield, base running, and much more. The cost is just $45 per camper and will be held at the home of the Gems, Kiger Stadium. For more information, log on to KlamathFallsGems.com and go to camp registration. Learn from the very best players, your Klamath Falls Gems.
The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much.
Justin Kotinger continues his day out on the mound through 5 innings thus far, looking very sharp, giving up just 2 hits and 1 run. It'll bring up Isaiah Engman, who flew out to center field in his first at-bat. It was a good swing on the ball, but got underneath it, allowed Salazar to work underneath it with plenty of time. Gems trailing the Heat 2-1. The first pitch of the at-bat swung on up into the air on right field, working its way down the line and foul. Strike one. Just about a foot off the line, but sending Floyd, Zargoza, and Willite all alike converging towards there just in case. It did end up in fair territory. Just ends up being strike one, however, for Isaiah. The 0-1. Left upstairs. 1-1 the count now to Engman. The 1-1 pitch from Kotinger. Left outside. 2-1. look in from Kodinger out at Beatty. Begins his motion now. The 2-1 pitch to Engman will be jam shot inside, and trying to lay it on the run is Chavez. And a tough call there. Probably should have been made. But a hard hop right at the end for Engman. And it will go up as an error on Chavez. Second time he's had a tough play out at third base. The first one just plain old missed his glove. This one looked like it took a hit off of it. Will be ruled an error as Engman gets aboard for the first time today. Steve Sordahl at the plate. Sordahl 0 for 2. The pop out in foul territory and a ground out. Pitch outside. Looks like it might have been a pitch out, perhaps not executed perfectly, but ends up being well into left-handed batter's box. Ball 1. Engman takes his lead. He's a guy with good speed. As he's starting to dance around at first base, trying to get in the head of Kodinger, the lefty. And he'll go over to first base. And Engman broke back towards first base, stopped, and then had to lean out with his right foot to get back to the bag. But he's back in safely. It's a 1-0 count to Sordahl, the leadoff hitter. McKee on deck. Santiago in the hole. Engman goes up into the air into right field, and that will drop on the right field line and tail into foul territory. And being held up at third base, and the throw not in time for Sordahl at second base. And a perfectly executed hit and run by the Gems. Sordahl basically flipping the bat out on the outside half, trying to just get anything on it to protect his runner, and ends up putting up a bloop single in right field. 2 runners in scoring position, no outs for the Gems in the bottom of the 6th for Keone McKee, who coming into this inning had one of the 2 at-bats one of the 2 hits for the Gems. Sordahl, the bloop, turns into a double. And the infield will be brought in to a degree. Now the middle infielder's backing off. Chavez in on the grass at third base. Willite a couple of steps off. And a grounder right up the middle, and that will get into center field. Being sent from second base is Sordahl. A throw to the plate will be cut off by Willite, and no play at the plate. And Keone McKee comes through huge. A 2 RBI single right back up the middle. Give the Gems the lead for the first time today. A 3-2 margin now over the Heat, as the Gems take advantage of the perfectly executed hit and run. Put Engman at third base, Sordahl at second on the bloop. Ended up giving it a double for Sordahl. He scores with his good speed. McKee was very wise out on the base pass, took a huge turn around first base, and the first baseman Willite was watching him instead of thinking about the play at the plate. As even with Sordahl's speed, there might have been a chance, but he cuts it off and looks over at first base with McKee, who takes a big secondary lead as Santiago sees first pitch low. We'll see if they pitch around Santiago, as they already seen the power in his bat, and they don't want to blow this game wide open. It's a 3-2 lead for the Gems after the 2 RBI single from McKee. Plates Engman and Sordahl. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 6th as McKee is getting a long look from Kodinger. And a fastball finds the plate on the outside half. 1-1 the count on Santiago, who is 0 for 2 today. A ground out and a fly out. And that flyout was a productive out as it moved McKee from second to third. A deep fly into center field. It was Salazar had to keep backtracking, backpedaling to stay with. Kodinger brings the ball into his glove, working from the stretch. Looks out at McKee, will come to the plate. Leave it up high on the outside edge. 2-1 the count. As Santiago will tighten up his gloves. Known by Nelly around here, as there are 2 Santiagos on the team. Nelson and Adrian. He gets to be called Nelly, and Adrian goes by Santee. Long look at Kotinger over at first base. He'll come home the 2-1. Down low, 3-1 the count. Big secondary lead taken by McKee, getting in the head perhaps of Kotinger. It's a 3-1 count as he looks over towards the Gems, over towards the Heat dugout. And looks like some activity about to be starting up in the bullpen. Number 31, Anthony Poindexter, going out to the pen. The 3-1 to Santiago. Ends up foul tipping that one. Means a full count. A 3-2 count. 1 on, no outs in the bottom of the 6th. 2 runs across for the Gems. They lead the Heat now, 3-2. McKee takes his lead out at first base. Willite covering the bag for Sacramento. Kotinger comes set. Looks out at first base. Will go home. The 3-2 fouled off by Santiago as he battles against Kotinger. As Anthony Poindexter starts to get loose up in the bullpen for the Heat. Number 31, Poindexter, the 5'8" sophomore from Folsom Lake College. Long look over from Kotinger over to first base. The payoff pitch. Up into the air into right field, over the head of Floyd, who reaches back somehow and makes that play at the last second, able to jut that arm out as he was backpedaling. Nice play out in right field on a good swing of the bat from Santiago. And staying put at first base is McKee, as that was quickly brought back into the infield by Floyd. First out on that fly out to right field from Santiago will bring up a pinch hitter, and moving into the designated hitter spot is Cam Walker, who started game 1. Squaring up to bunt, dropping the ball is Beatty after Walker pulled back. McKee out to second base, his second stolen bag on the game, and he's in scoring position now. And it's an 0-1 count on Walker. Noah Jarbo jogging to stay loose along the first base side. It has been the longest inning yet for the Gems at the plate. The 0-1 up and over the top of the overhang on the third base side for Walker. He's down 0-2 in the count. Walker hitting from the left side. A big, tall guy, 6'6". But it squats deep down in his batting stance to try and compact that massive strike zone. The 0-2. And again, will fight off a pitch. A fastball inside will be sent off the top of the third base concession stand and into the parking lot. Remains 0-2 as Justin Kotinger's pitches might be numbered. Anthony Poindexter walking back from the bullpen now. McKee out at second base with his lead. The 0-2. Outside, ball 1. Slider missing from Kotinger as Walker took over for Hermes in the designated hitter spot. Hermes went 0 for 2. One of those, a sacrifice of sorts, an RBI ground out, a productive out, put the Gems on the board. And being sent back to the bag is McKee as Kotinger stepped off. McKee retakes his lead. Shortstop Walsh shadowing right behind him. Walsh gives the signs out to the catcher Beatty, who relays them to the pitcher Kotinger. The 1-2. Big chopper over the top of Kodinger, has to be charged in on by Walsh. It hits off of his body, and both runners are safe. McKee to third base, Walker to first on the error from Walsh. And time is called. And bringing the infield in is Trevor Payne, the manager of the Heat. As suddenly, with runners on the corners and one out and already a one-run lead for the Gems, can't really afford to let this game get too far away, as Kodinger has been pitching very well up until this inning, and the Gems starting to square him up, getting a couple lucky drops. Kodinger will stay out on the mound, so part pep talk, part time move as Poindexter continues to loosen up. Looked like he had moved back towards the dugout, but he's back up in the bullpen trying to get heated up. It's Colin Sinkovich at the plate. Sinkovich is 0 for 2 today, a pair of ground outs, a ground out to second base and one right back to the mound to Kodinger. Kodinger listed at 5'11", looks about 6 foot in the cleats. Walker with his lead at first base. And first pitch strike to Sinkovich. Walker takes his lead at first base. Willite holding him on as double play depth up the middle, and stepping off now is Kodinger. It's an 0-1 count, one out, runners on the corners. The Gems lead the Heat now in the bottom of the sixth, squaring up to bunt, putting it on the first baseline, and foul. Tried the push bunt up the line, but it rolled foul. Good idea by the Gems, but just couldn't be executed as McKee was breaking for the plate on the squeeze. 0-2 count now after the bunt foul by Sinkovich. Runners on the corners, one out, a one-run lead now for the Gems. Kodinger eyes in at Beatty. Walker takes a big lead out at first, and a throw over will have him in standing up, taking huge steps, which I guess are really every step for Cam Walker at 6'6". It's an 0-2 count to Sinkovich. McKee at third base, Walker at first. Beatty sets up on the outside half of the plate. And another throw over, and they've caught Walker in the rundown. And McKee breaks for the plate. And not even seeing that McKee comes home, Walker is tagged out. And now a 4-2 lead for the Gems. Not exactly probably what Coach Alvarado wanted. Take a runner off of the base paths, but Walker heads up there. He knew he got caught on the pickoff, and Keone is being corrected up here in the press boxes. Keone McKee scoring from third base. An 0-2 count remains for Sinkovich, but with nobody on, his plate approach changes here. A 4-2 lead for the Gems. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Down goes Sinkovich. That is the fourth strikeout of the game for Kodinger, but that might be the last inning we see him, as he gives up 2 runs and gives up 3 runs and gives up the lead. The Gems take a 2-run advantage, 4-2. As we go to the 7th, it'll be Willite, Zargoza, and Doughty due up.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family-owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center, from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gyms would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gyms. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gyms ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gyms game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gyms.
No, Jarbo returns to the mound, and for the first time today with a lead for the Gems, a 4-2 advantage for Klamath Falls over the Heat. We bring up Marcus Willite, the first baseman, who is 1 for 2 today. He was caught stealing his only time out on the base paths. Stands tall in the left-handed batter's box as a fastball runs outside for Jarbo. 1-0 the count. The 1-0. Finding the outside half of the plate. A 1-1 count. A fastball from Jarbo. The 1-1. Up into the air into right field. Engman backtracks and camps out underneath it for out number 1. Broke more towards the warning track, but once he got a better read on it, he realized he didn't have to go very far. And he watches into his glove for out number 1. That'll bring up number 14, Jordan Zaragoza, the second baseman. Zaragoza, his one hit of the day was a triple out to right field, but he would be stranded at third base back in the second. First pitch inside, ball 1. As Jarbo continues to keep the right-handed batters on their toes, if nothing else, by missing inside. The 1-1 will again miss inside. 2-0. Jarbo retrieves that on the first base side of the mound, and we'll walk back as the Shadows continue to work their way up from the first base side towards left field. Clear skies up above Tigers, distant clouds, and a line drive up the middle for a single for Zaragoza, his second hit of the day, as he takes a hard turnaround first but puts the brakes on immediately. Swordall out there to send it back into the infield. A 1-out single for Zaragoza will bring up Jake Doty. Doty 1 for 2 on the day. His last time up, he singled and scored a run to move it to a 2-1 advantage for the Heat back in the 5th. He hits from the right side. Mendoza setting up on the outside half of the plate. The pitch will go inside, and trying to lean into that one was Doty, but doesn't get hit. It's a 1-0 count. 1 out, 1 runner on. 2-run lead for the Gems. 4-2 over the Heat. Their Gems going for the sweep. A throw over to first base has Zaragoza diving in headfirst safely. The Gems able to pick off 2 Heat base runners yesterday. Dakota Wendell, the nice move over to first base, was able to pick off Rapolo and Schoenberger in game 2. Neither of those guys in the game now. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Out in front of that one was the DH Doughty, who has played all 3 games in this 3-game set. The Gems will have a couple of days off before hosting the California Bees. Another throw over, and again in safely, is Zaragoza. That series begins on Wednesday. 6:35 starts on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But on Saturday, a 1 o'clock start as a doubleheader will be played on Saturday, and then rounding out the 6-game series on Sunday with a 5:05 start. Swung on, tipped into the glove of Mendoza. Strike 2. A 1-2 count. 1 out, 1 runner aboard for the Heat, trailing the Gems 2 runs after giving up 3 in the bottom of the 6th. Another throw over to first base, and again in safely is Zaragoza. Zaragoza has 3 stolen bases on the year, has not been caught as of yet. And being hit by the pitch is Doty. Not making a huge attempt to get out of the way, but hit nonetheless. That puts 2 runners on and 1 out. That will bring up Connor Floyd, who is 0 for 2 with a pair of ground outs, and that will send Coach Alvarado out to the mound to talk with Jarbo. Lefty getting loose up in the pen for the Gems. Looks like Jake Trujillo will be coming in for Noah Jarbo. Jarbo goes 6 1/3 here against the Heat. He leaves as the pitcher of record. He's got 2 guys aboard, however, with 1 out here in the top of the 7th. It's a 4-2 lead as Trujillo's coming in. Try and right the ship here in Klamath Falls.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS. Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you.
Jacob Trujillo all heated up out on the mound as he takes over for Noah Jarbo. Jarbo goes 6 1/3, gives up 7 hits, 2 runs, both of which were earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. He left 2 runners aboard with 1 out here in the top of the 7th. It's a 2-run lead for the Gems. Jarbo has a chance to go 3-0 on the season if the score remains in the Gems' favor. First pitch from Trujillo. Grounder up to second baseman Carswell. Chance for 2. They get the 1 at second base. Fire it over to first in time. The 4-6-3 double play hit into by Floyd. 1 pitch from Trujillo gets the Gems out of the inning. It's still a 4-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Carswell, Hernandez, and Mendoza due up.
Attention parents and kids, the Gems coaches and players will be conducting a baseball camp June 22nd through June 24th, as well as July 20th through July 22nd for players age 5 through 16. You will get an outstanding instruction in pitching, hitting, infield, outfield, base running, and much more. The cost is just $45 per camper and will be held at the home of the Gems, Kiger Stadium. For more information, log on to KlamathFallsGems.com and go to camp registration. Learn from the very best players, your Klamath Falls Gems.
The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much.
A new man out on the mound for the Heat. It is number 31, Anthony Poindexter, who had been getting loose back in the bottom of the sixth. Kotner able to get out of it, but 3 runs come across for the Gems. For Poindexter, he'll be making his 5th appearance out of the bullpen. He's thrown 4 1/3 innings, given up 6 hits, 2 runs, both of which are earned, 3 walks to 3 strikeouts, a 4.15 ERA. He's tasked to keep the Heat in this game, try not to give up any more runs. A pair of errors helped the Gems in that inning. Engman, who represented the tying run for the Gems, got aboard via an error on third baseman Chavez as he tried to olay it, meaning tried to bring the glove up in one fell swoop off of the grounder instead of cutting his body in front of it. Ended up going out into left field to put Engman aboard, and then a Sordall blooped one down the right field line. McKee then singled them both in. The inning was extended by Walker, an error up the middle, and Jack Walsh allowing McKee, who had stolen second base, to advance to third. And eventually Walker got caught in a rundown and in a mental error. It doesn't go down as such in the book. Allowed McKee to advance from third to home while Walker was dancing around between the base paths. A heads-up move by Walker makes it a 4-2 lead, and that will bring up Wes Carswell now that Poindexter is all heated up. Carswell is 1 for 2 in the game. A single up the middle, the first hit of the day, and Poindexter's first pitch. Bunt laid down the third base line, rolling, and foul. That was played on the line by Chavez, and that should be a fair ball. And with that, Coach Alvarado might be going and talking with the home plate umpire. And Coach Alvarado having that same exact conversation with the home plate umpire as Carswell laid down a beautiful bunt there. And the Gems can't quite get that one to go in their favor. It's an 0-1 count for Carswell after trying to sneak a bunt down the third baseline. The pitch. Big chopper up to Walsh at shortstop. He plays it on the hop and a low throw, but Willi gets down and is able to field it cleanly for out number 1. Instead of like many first basemen just kind of leaning out, Willi moves his whole body in front of it, making sure it won't get past him in case he's unable to pick it clean. And that will bring up number 7, Justin Cooney-Silk, pinch hitting for Hernandez. Fastball away. Ball 1 for Cooney-Silk. Taking over for Hernandez. Big rip coming up empty. 1-1 the count. Hernandez is 0-2 in the game. He had one good swing of the bat. High fly ball out to left field, just getting under that one. And then a strikeout in his next at bat. Cooney-Silk whiffs over the top of one. 1-2 the count. Ended up chasing that one after it was going in the dirt. Not picking up Poindexter as of yet. It's a righty-lefty matchup. That might be part of why they switched things up, as Poindexter shakes off the sign from Beatty, brings the ball into his glove, and fires the 1-2. Up into the air into left field, and watching it past him is Jackson Murphy. This one's going to run all the way to the wall. And Cooney-Silk has a stand-up double, as that was misplayed by Murphy. Might have lost it in the sun as he put the glove up in front of his face, but a lucky break for the Gems as a double off the end of the bat from Silk, an opposite field hit. Productive pinch hit plate appearance there for Silk. Got himself in scoring position for the lefty Mendoza. Mendoza 0 for 1, a 4-3 ground out back in the 5th. Shortstop Walsh behind. Cooney-Silk out at second base with his lead. A fastball away. 1-0 the count. And this one is off the end of the bat, foul towards the third base side. 1-1 the count. Number 1, Mendoza at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and 1 runner on for the Gems. A 2-run lead for Klamath Falls over the Heat, 4-2. Poindexter comes set, kicks and fires the 1-1. Softly chopped foul on the first base side. That'll roll past the on-deck circle. And as Isaiah Engman allows the bat boy to come and retrieve that one. It's a 1-2 count now for Mendoza. Cooney Silk out at second base after a double into left field past Jackson Murphy. The 1-2. Swung on in the dirt and tagged out by Beatty is Mendoza. That'll bring up Isaiah Engman. Engman started off the scoring in the 6th with reaching on an error. Cooney Silk still out at second base. Big hole on the right side of the infield with Zaragoza and Walsh both staying close to the bag. Cooney Silk about 5 steps off. Zaragoza retreats now. Fastball off the outside half, but a called strike. And that's been the MO of umpires here in this series. To be truthful, Scott Keppel today, Corey Stratton and Joel Woodley yesterday as they switched off behind the plate and in the field in the 2 games. They've both given a lot of room off the plate. The 0-1 will be rolled over to the third baseman Chavez. He gloves it cleanly. A throw to Willite in time for out number 3. The Gems strand Cooney Silk out at second base. It remains a 2-run lead for the Gems as we go to the 8th. Due up for the Heat, Justin Beatty, and rolling over to the top of the order with Chavez and Walsh due up after him. The Gems on top, 4-2.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family-owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
Welcome back to Kiger Stadium. I'm Nick Winstead, bringing you Gems baseball action all season long right here on Gems Alive. It's a 4-2 advantage for the Gems over the Heat as the Gems try and go for the sweep of the Heat. It'll be number 34, Justin Beatty, the catcher, who is 1 for 2 today. His last at bat in a 1-2 count was able to lift a single into left center field to put the Heat back on top. Ball 1 called on the outside half. A pitch that is sometimes there, sometimes not, as Jacob Trujillo enters into his second time out on the mound as he gets the outside strike this time. Even the count at 1-1. Trujillo just needed 1 pitch to get out of a 2 runners on, 1 out jam in the top half of the 7th. A 4-6-3 double play induced. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Beatty way out in front of that one. He had to drop down to 1 knee. Try and slow down his swing. 1-2 count for the catcher, Beatty. Trujillo leaning in towards Mendoza. Comes up straight, working from the first base side of the rubber. The pitch, ground over to the shortstop, McKee. Plays it off of 2 hops, shuffles his feet, fires off the bag, but Santiago with a long lean, able to glove it and stay aboard for out number 1. Be the leadoff hitter, number 13, Damian Chavez. Chavez 0 for 2, but made the most of his one time on the base pass after he was hit by a pitch, swiped second, subsequently stole third as well, and then came in to score on a Jack Walsh single. First pitch up off the mound and into center field. Attacking Trujillo the first time he sees him for a single up the middle. And puts himself aboard. We'll see if Chavez will be running as much as it was Mensing catching earlier, and they switched over to Mendoza. Mendoza, with a stronger arm, has thrown out 3 runners in this game so far. Up and into the air on the first base side, out of play, over the top of the first base pavilion, as Adrian Santiago starting to get loose up in the bullpen for the Gems. 0-1 count on Walsh. Walsh is 1 for 2 in the game. He walked and was caught stealing, in addition to his RBI single and a flyout. Check swing up the first baseline. That is foul. Strike 2 as Chavez running on the crack of the bat as it hit right off in front of home plate. Took a huge turn around second base. And if that had stayed fair, he would have been out at third base. Heads up base running by Chavez. When he returns to first base, it's an 0-2 count. Trujillo on top of Walsh. Santiago covering as Chavez takes his lead. The 0-2. Fastball off the outside edge, not getting the call. Ball 1. Sometimes that pitch is a strike, sometimes it's a ball, and it's equally frustrating for hitters and pitchers because neither one of them knows what's actually in the strike zone. As this one, it'll be on through the legs of Keone McKee at shortstop. Cooney Silk slides and hits off of him, and advancing from second to third is Chavez. Good hustle by Chavez, puts himself 90 feet closer to home on the single from Walsh. Runners on the corners, 1 out. A 2-run lead for the Gems in the top of the 8th. First pitch, fastball a little bit low to Guillermo Salazar. Salazar 1 for 3. Trujillo working from the stretch. The pitch, swinging and a miss. Over the top of it is Salazar. Strike 1. Trujillo comes set. The 1-1. Into the air in right center field. A diving catch from Sordall. And a throw home from Carswell will be up the line just a bit. Chavez got caught in the base paths too far. He had to go all the way back to tag up and ended up having just enough time to make it back to the plate as the throw was just a little bit up the line. A sacrifice fly it'll go down as for Salazar. An outstanding play in center field by Sordall. Out in right center field, the full extension dive, something he's made look routine here for the Gems. Robs a hit. 1 run comes across, a swing and a miss over the top by Jackson Murphy. Jack Walsh remains at first base. 2 outs in the top of the 8th. A 4-3 lead now as Trujillo will go over to first base with throw to Santiago, applying the tag, but not in time as Walsh is in standing up. Trujillo leaning in towards Mendoza, setting up on the outside half of the plate. The 0-1. We ground to the third baseman, Sinkovich. He rears back, gloves it on the backhand. A long throw and picked cleanly by Santiago at first base. A nice play on both ends of the corners for the Gems. 1 run comes across for the Heat. Makes it a 1-run lead for the Gems, 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Due up for Klamath Falls, it's the top of the order. Sordal, McKee, and Santiago.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS.
Steve Sordal coming up to the plate after making an amazing grab in right center field to rob a hit from Guillermo Salazar. Only 1 run comes across on what could have potentially been 2 runs on 1 swing of the bat, and as Jack Walsh ends up having to stay put at first base. Chavez scores from third. Poindexter, first pitch strike to Sordal. In the bottom half of the 8th, a 1-run lead for the Gems. As this one is shot over to Chavez at third base. A high throw and not on the bag. Wilhite had to jump up and lean over towards his right, and Sordal is aboard. An error on Chavez allows Sordal aboard. That is, by my count, the second error by Chavez and the third missed play. And that'll bring up Keone McKee, who is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and 2 runs batted in. The throw down to second base is in time. Sordal gunned out. Jack Walsh applies the tag. And he's caught stealing. Good strong throw from Beatty. It was a pitch up high, an easy one to throw down to second on for Justin Beatty. It's a 1-0 count to McKee. The pitch. 2-0 the count. Missing just a bit inside. 4-3 lead for the Gems here in the bottom of the 8th, going for the sweep of the Heat. The 2-0. Up off the mound and into center field. McKee, 3 for 4 today. 3 singles. As Nelson Santiago is looking for his first hit of the game. He's put a couple of good swings on him. Last time, Connor Floyd made a spectacular play in right field, able to reach up when it looks like it had gone past him, and they'll put the shift on once again for Santiago. Chavez, the third baseman, playing in the shortstop position. Strike 1. Again, he could put a bunt past the pitcher, Poindexter. Might have a great opportunity. The 0-1. Swinging and a miss, strike 2. McKee takes his lead at first base. It's an 0-2 count to Santiago, 1 out after Sordal was caught stealing. The pitch outside. McKee with a huge secondary lead, walked back over to the bag by Beatty. 1-2 count, 1 out. Jammed in on the hands, out into left center field, and that will drop in front of Murphy. McKee takes a big turn around second base because no one was covering the bag, but quickly 2 guys out there, but a jam shot single for Santiago muscles it out into left center field. And now some communication going on between Salazar and Murphy, as maybe they didn't know who's had that. Is it Murphy might have had a chance at that one, maybe on a dive. But now McKee at second base, Santiago at first. His first hit of the day brings up Cam Walker, the designated hitter, took over for Hermes. Pitch it way up high. Ball 1 over the head of Cam Walker. 2 runners on, 1 out. Poindexter looks out at McKee, kicks and fires, and ripped into right field. And this one is over the head of Floyd, takes a hit off the wall. Being sent from second base is McKee. Walker into second base, and McKee scores. It's a 5-3 lead for the Gems as Walker crushed that one, hits the wall, and he's got a stand-up double, bringing in Keone McKee to make it back to a 2-run lead for the Gems, as Anthony Poindexter having a conversation out on the mound with Willite and Beatty. Colin Sinkovich coming to the plate. He's 0 for 3. He's due for a hit. 2 runners in scoring position, 1 out, and that'll bring the Heat in defensively. Everybody along the grass on the infield. Guillermo Salazar playing in right center field. And a big chopper to the shortstop, Walsh, and he'll fire over to first base, and the infield in pays immediate dividends. A 6-3 put out. Now 2 outs. Still 2 runners in scoring position. And Wes Carswell comes to the plate. He started off the game with a hit in his first at bat, and a pair of groundouts to shortstop. Has him at 1-3 on the day as he rubs up a little bit of dirt between his hands, electing to go without batting gloves, I should say. As the fans starting to make some noise here at Kiger Stadium, urge on this rally. Pitch inside, ball 1. That will be a now 4-run inning for the Gems. Excuse me, 4-run lead, 3-run inning now, as McKee, Santiago, and Walker are all across for the Gems. Carswell out at second base. And that'll bring up Justin Cooney Silk, who put a double into left field and misplayed by Murphy. First pitch strike off the plate. 0-1 the count, 2 outs. The 1 sent right over the top of the press box by Cooney Silk. 0-2 the count. The Gems, a pair of 3-run innings so far, the 6th, and if it ends now, the 8th. Anthony Poindexter came in relief of Kotinger. Had a scoreless 7th, but has now watched 3 runs come across. Some errors not helping out his cause. The 0-2 on its way. And up and out of play on the third base side. That'll head over towards the bullpen for the Heat, as a young fan has found himself a souvenir. Hit off the end of the bat by Cooney. A 7-3 lead now for the Gems on top of the Heat. A 1-2 count for Cooney Silk. The pitch. Down low on the outside half. 2-2 the count as Cooney Silk gives up the stop sign out to Carswell, making sure he's not going to try and advance on that one. Beatty has shown himself to be a very capable catcher. Not wanting to test that arm again. The first out of this inning was Steve Sordahl being caught stealing after he reached on a Damian Chavez error. And Carswell is out at second base thanks to a Chavez error. Called strike 3 on the inside half of the plate, sends Cooney Silk back to the dugout. 3 runs come across for the Gems as they give themselves some breathing room. 7-3, the Gems on top as we go to the top of the 9th. Facing a 4-run deficit, the Heat will send up Willite, Zargoza, and Doughty.
Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you.
A 7-3 lead for the Gems in the top of the 9th. A 3-run bottom of the 8th, providing a little bit of breathing room for Jacob Trujillo. Noah Jarbo, the pitcher of record for the Gems, in line for the win. And Justin Kotinger stuck with a loss if it remains a 7-3 advantage. Perhaps even a 7-6 advantage should it get to there. As long as the Gems are on top, he's on the hook. First pitch, changeup misses inside to Willite. A 1-0 the count. Up into the air into left field. Cooney Silk drifting towards the line, making a run, making a dive, and it'll hit off of his glove and get stuck in the fence. A strong throw into the infield, and that will be Marcus Willite at second base. An error could perhaps be charged. Not sure if that counts as extraordinary effort. Regardless, Willite will be at second base, and that's exactly what you want if you're the Heat to start off your potentially last inning. And Jordan Zargoza coming to the plate. He's 2 for 3, a triple and a single. He's got a runner in scoring position. Trujillo, fastball, strike 1 on the outside half. Trujillo looking back at second base. Willite. Pitch upstairs, 1-1 the count. The 1-1 sent into the net on a line, fouled by Zargoza. 1-2 the count. The 1-2 pitch, upstairs, 2-2 the count on Zargoza. Willite out at second base after getting one up into the air and continued to hook. The 2-2. Strike 3 looking, down goes Zargoza. First strikeout of the appearance for Trujillo. That'll bring up number 30, Jake Doty. Doty is 1 for 2. Had a single and a run scored back in the 5th. He was hit by a pitch in his last at bat to put 2 runners on, 1 out, when Trujillo came in and induced a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play, and he gets a first pitch strike on Doty. The 0-1 becomes 0-2. Another called strike on the outside half. Wes Carswell will go out and talk with Jake Trujillo for just a second, and he'll call Mendoza up to the mound as well. Up 0-2, 1 out. In the top of the 9th, a 4-run lead for the Gems over the Heat, going for the sweep. Able to take both games of the doubleheader yesterday, 11-9 in Game 1, 2-1 in Game 2. And this was a pitcher's duel right up until the 6th when the Gems made it a 4-2 game, then added on 3 more runs in the bottom of the 8th. Fastball just a bit high, 1-2 the count. Marcus Willite out at second base, a nominal lead. It's a 1-2 count for Jake Doty. The pitch. Again, just a little bit high, 2-2 the count. That's right over the plate, but Jake Doty living to see another pitch after 2 close misses as he stays off. The Pepperdine University freshman plays baseball in the West Coast Conference. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Doty. Strikeout number 2 for Trujillo. And that will bring up number 16, Connor Floyd. Back-to-back strikeouts after giving up a double to Willite. Trujillo settling in nicely. Strike 1 on a swing and a miss from Floyd. Trujillo looking in at Mendoza. And just missing on the inside part of the plate with a breaking ball is Trujillo. 1-1 the count, 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. The Gems take on the California Bees next week, a 6-game set. Fastball inside, 2-1 the count. Looked like Floyd might have tried to lean into that one unsuccessfully. 2-1 the count. The 2-1 count, 2 outs. Top of the 9th, a 7-3 lead for the Gems. Fastball up. 2, 3-1 now. It's a 3-1 count, 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The pitch, upstairs, ball 4. Now 2 runners aboard for the Heat with Justin Beatty's spot coming up. And it will be Beatty. Now, McKee having a quick chat with Trujillo. 2 on, 2 outs. A 4-run lead for the Gems. Justin Beatty 1 for 3 in the game. A line drive into shallow left field. A pair of ground outs. First pitch strike from Trujillo. Beatty hitting from the right side against the lefty Trujillo. The 0-1. will be shot off of Sinkovich at third base. Sinkovich recovers. The high throw to Santiago will go over his head. Scoring from second base is Willite. Advancing to third is Floyd on the error from Sinkovich. Trying too hard to make a play there. And that will be a run across for the Heat. Now a pinch runner will come in, number 23. Easton Vidales will pinch run for Justin Beatty, also a catcher. And Damian Chavez will come to the plate. A guy who committed 2 errors in that 3-run bottom of the 8th for the Gems at the plate. First pitch fastball, a little bit high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. 2 outs, 2 runners on the corners. Grounder up the middle. McKee watches it glance off of his glove into center field. A tough play for McKee, but it hits off of his glove into center field, and another run comes across. Connor Floyd scores. Now a 7-5 game. Chavez, the tying run at first base. The go-ahead run, Jack Walsh on the mound as Coach Alvarado will go out to the mound as things are getting a little bit dicey here. And they will go to the bullpen. Trujillo gives the Gems a couple of good innings. Gets into a jam here. 2 runs across in the top of the 9th. They go to number 34, Zach Lewandowski, who closed out game 1 for the Gems. Trujillo shut down game 2 of the doubleheader. We'll take a quick break here as Lewandowski gets heated up.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS.
Zach Lewandowski, the 5'10" lefty from Chemeketa Community College. Just a freshman coming into this game. The potential go-ahead run at the plate for the Heat in Jack Walsh. Walsh 2 for 3 on the day with already a run driven in. Damian Chavez comes to the plate. Marcus Willite started things off as this one will be sent off of the backstop on a foul tip. Strike 1. You start things off, the double into left field. A pair of strikeouts of Zaragoza and Doty. Then a walk to Connor Floyd. An error from Colin Sinkovich. Extended things. And then a hit off the glove of McKee at shortstop. And this one will be through the left side. Being held up at third base is Chavez. As a dive from McKee comes up empty. Bases are loaded. McKee comes up a little bit slow out at shortstop. A 7-5 lead, very much in jeopardy now for the Gems as Guillermo Salazar at the plate. Guillermo Salazar can be the hero for the Heat. As last time up, Steve Sordahl robbed a hit from him. A full extension dive in center field as his fastball comes way inside. Getting out of the way is Salazar.
92-89 with 18 seconds left. Cleveland. Game-winning 3 from Curry right here.
2-0 on its way. Up into the air into left field. Cooney Silk out underneath it and will glove it for out number 3. And the Gems sweep the Heat. Things get a little bit dicey at the end, but the Gems hold on. And a 3-game sweep of the Heat. Their first winning streak of the year for the Gems. 2 runs come across in the top of the 9th, both coming across with 2 outs. Errors extending the inning. Zach Lewandowski comes on to take care of things. And that will be 3 victories for the Gems here against the Heat at home. 4 total on the year against Sacramento.
92-89 with 10 seconds left.
As a game where just the late runs coming across, a pitcher's duel up until the 6th, but the Gems come out on top. We're going to take a quick break and have the coaches up here for a post-game show, so stick around.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help
and
from
unplug
Rogue
it.
Credit Union.
Thank
Rogue
you.
Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls, their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS. Hey fans, how would you like to book a company or a family group outing at Kiger Stadium? It is a fun way to get everyone together, socialize, and have a great time. Contact the Gems at 541-883-4367 to book your group or to get more information. Get your group booked now by calling 541-883-GEMS.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Holiday Jewelry, family owned since 1975, setting the standard for quality and service in Klamath Falls community since the beginning. And Klamath Eye Center, your complete eye care center from comprehensive eye exams to surgery and even our optical dispensary. Without these sponsors, nothing is possible. Thank you. The Klamath Falls Gems would like to send their thanks to Russ, Spires and Pooley, LLP, Avista, Herald and News, and Henry's Roofing and Supply for sponsoring the 2016 season. Thank you so much. Taco Bell is proud to support the Klamath Falls Gems. Don't forget to take advantage of the free taco coupon on the back of your Klamath Falls Gems ticket stub. Everyone who comes out to a Klamath Falls Gems game this year can receive a free taco at one of Taco Bell's 2 locations in Klamath Falls. Once again, we'd like to thank Taco Bell for all their support of the Klamath Falls Gems.
Coach Alvarado making his way up to the press box now after the first sweep on the year for the Gems comes at the hands of the Heat being the team swept, I should say. The Gems previously swept by the Reno Bighorns, and now the Gems on the right side of the broom. A thrilling victory here, 7-5. The Gems defeat the Heat. And really have been exciting games, all three of this series. Game 1, a final of 11-9. Game 2, a 2-1 victory, edging out the Heat in the second game of that doubleheader into the night here at Klamath Falls. And finally, in Game 3, 7-5 victory as the Heat put together a late comeback attempt, but it falls short. Bases loaded for Guillermo Salazar, and he flies out to left field. As now looks like they finally made their way out, as it is Father's Day, of course, and Coach Alvarado's two of his sons are up here, along with Junior, as he goes by, Alex Alvarado Jr., who plays on the team. He's got a couple of other sons who came over with his brother to be here for this weekend to celebrate, and so he was taking a quick moment to talk with them. Fans are out on the field signing autographs for the Gems, as it is an autograph night for Klamath Falls, as some fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers celebrating the victory over the Golden State Warriors. A 93-89 final in Game 7 going on right now, as now the two coaches making their way up to the press box. We'll take a quick break as they get all settled in here on the post-game show.
Klamath Falls Baseball is brought to you with help from Rogue Credit Union. Rogue Credit Union is committed to actively engaging in the communities we serve. Rogue Credit Union, banking and finance since 1956. Living local, it's a Rogue thing. And Quail Park of Klamath Falls, a senior lifestyle community in Klamath Falls. Their experienced and caring team of healthcare professionals will treat you and your loved ones like they would treat their own families. Thank you for supporting the Klamath Falls Gems.
Fans, if you own a business and would like your brand to be seen at Kiger Field, give the Gems a call at 541-883-4367 and tell them you would like to discuss the most unique and cost-effective marketing opportunity in the area. Call the Gems at 541-883-GEMS.
After a little bit of celebration, the coaches have made their way up to the press box, welcoming in Coach Alvarado and Coach Johnson. Thanks for joining me, guys. It's Coach Alvarado on the mic now. And so initial reactions after sweeping the Heat.
It wasn't a surprise. You know, like I've said in the past, we've got our pitching now, and our guys are starting to find a rhythm. Guys are owning their positions and their responsibilities, and you know, it was a good series. We pitched well, we hit well.
Well, we saw a little bit of everything throughout this series. In Game 1, you see the bats come alive, an 11-9 victory. Got a little bit dicey at the end, but the team held on. And then in Game 2, a pitcher's duel through and through, a 2-1 victory. And then in this game, you get a little bit of both. It's a pitcher's duel through 6 innings. The Gems end up plating 3 runs in the bottom half of the 6th and add on 3 more runs in the bottom of the 8th to open things up. And you know that you've got to be pleased if you are, you know, the coaching staff, because you're seeing that your team can do it in so many different ways.
Right. I think we get some timely bunts down, some hit and runs. I think Serdal tonight with his hit and run double was really huge for us and to keep us in the game in the beginning. But it was a pitching duel for the first 5, and our bats started coming alive. I think the third time through the lineup, you know, we kind of started hitting, seeing him a little better. He was a good lefty. Really good pitcher for the Sacramento Heat.
Yeah, back-to-back games, really solid pitching performances. Karsten Lee took a complete game loss, giving up just 4 hits and 2 runs. And now today, Justin Kotinger, he goes 6 innings, and things got away from him in the 6th, but he was looking really sharp throughout those. I mean, it took up until the 6-hole hitter, Carswell, to just get a hit, much less somebody in scoring position. That happened in the 4th. So obviously some things going right for the Heat out there, but the Gems able to use this momentum in the first 2 games from the doubleheader, able to take Game 3 Was it taxing on the guys to be able to have to come out here right after that doubleheader and try and go for the sweep?
No, 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 not at all. They were fired up in the locker room before we hit the field. Um, a lot of um, a lot of good chatter in the last couple of games from the bullpen, from the bench. Guys are just, you know, they're here to win. You know, no question about it. They want to come out and do their best. I think mine and Coach Johnson's hardest thing to do is to put a lineup together because these guys are competitive. They're very good, and everybody can hit and can play on this team. So the hardest thing for us to do is put a lineup out there. But you can see that we can do it with small ball. We can hit doubles. We can hit home runs, and this team's just going to continue to click. And the pitching has been very very promising the last couple of games, and Wendell was fantastic. Yesterday, as well as Walker. Um, yeah, so I can't speak enough about the infield. I mean, we're turning double plays. Sinkovich at third base just amazes us every game. I mean, he comes out and he uses his body if he has to, and we give him tons of credit. I mean, he's a gamer. He's going to be really fun to watch for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. He made a couple of really heads-up plays. The line out early on in the game, he not only was that a fantastic diving catch, but he's up and ready to fire to second base immediately. And that gets a double play and helps out the Gems. After that first run came across, it looked like would be perhaps a long day out on the base paths for the Heat as 2 stolen bases, but then that came quickly into check as we saw both James Mensing and Ryan Mendoza throw guys out on the base paths. What's it like to have 2 good, strong catchers?
Well, like I had said, it's hard. It's hard to put a lineup together because everybody can handle it. James, came out a little bit, wasn't feeling too good, so we went back with Ryan. Um, and Ryan is just so solid there, arm wise, blocking wise, and he contributes in the lineup. So we're gonna go to him, and Mensing will help out with catching it as much as he can.
Yeah, and somebody that I think made an impact throughout the course of the series. Obviously, your positional guys, but Cam Walker had a great first game out on the mound. Fantastic. He picks up the win. Then he comes in here and hits one right off the wall, an absolute laser coming in as the DH in his second time up. And what's it like to have such versatility from a guy like Cam?
I knew coming in with Cam and recruiting him that he was a two-way player. Not only can he give you 7 innings on the mound, but he can come out and hit. He can play first base. He's just as good as Santiago at first base. We're gonna see Santi DH in and Cam Walker DH in. I thought bringing him in, um, you know, to pinch hit. I think he came through quite well, and I think he's going to continue to do that for us for the rest of the season.
And so after this sweep of the Heat, we've got a set against the California Bees coming up on Wednesday, a 5-game set against them. How do you guys keep the team feeling good after, it's a 3-game series, but 2 days off, and then you've got a long series right after that? How do you keep them fresh, but also keeping this momentum after a couple days off?
We're gonna get after it on our days off. The guys are our workhorses. They show up. We have set times for them to come here. We get here, and half the team's here, working out, doing the things that they need to do to prepare. It's tough because these guys all have different workout regimens, and we're not familiar with all of those, but they work really hard on their days off, whether it's at the gym or on the field, in the cage, off the tee. They're just they're workhorses, and I think that's what makes this team click so well is that you know it's not just one of them going to the gym. They get a group of 10 guys, and they're at the gym working out together. So I think they'll be fine for the Bees. We're anticipating Isaac Mitchum to be our starter on game 1. I believe we have 6 games against the Bees, so you'll see our bullpen quite a bit. Guys are going to have to give us innings.
Well, congratulations on the sweep. thrilling victory. Maybe a little bit too thrilling down in the dugout for your liking, but a 7-5 victory nonetheless. Thanks for coming up onto the post-game show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Klamath Falls Gems Baseball, presented by Avista, Harbor Isle Tennis and Fitness Club, Henry's Roofing and Supply, Heraldon News, Holiday Jewelry, Klamath Eye Center, the Oregon State Lottery, Quail Park of Klamath Falls, Rogue Credit Union, Rust Spires and Pulley LLP, Taco Bell, Super 8, and United Finance. Be sure to join us all season long at Kiger Stadium or listen to the games online at KlamathFallsGems.com.